Well, now let's get talking on this one. Joining me to discuss this issue tonight is a legal practitioner, Mr. Ikechukwu Ikeji. Many thanks for coming on the program.
Thank you, Chair.
And also the leader of United Action Congress is Mr. Kunle. Okay, many thanks, gentlemen, for coming on the program. If I may begin with you, you are aware of the court case instituted by some pro-Banire group against the primaries, which the court was asking, that they were asking the court to stop election in Lagos State. What was the basis for that anyways?
Well, thank you very much. First, let me make a correction. You'll observe that the people who instituted actions, not only in Mushinau or Odiolowo, there have been some councillors, some aspirants who are contesting or who wanted to contest the councillorship positions in various places that have instituted actions. So I wouldn't really know whether they are pro-Banire or not, but because the primary election that was supposed to hold in May actually did not hold. So they were challenging that there was no primary election, and on that basis, the party couldn't have fielded any person as the winner of the primary that did not hold. So that is the substance of what they brought to court, saying that the court should nullify any candidate being paraded by the party.
But what was the court stance at this time? Did the court stop the election, or what did the court say?
What the court has directed, because the court couldn't have stopped the election, because it doesn't involve APC alone. It involves several other parties. So what the court has directed is simply that APC should conduct a valid primary election to produce its candidate before the general election on Saturday. So, however, you see that before that could be the position, you must have conducted your primaries within the time stipulated by the law. So, which in any case is not which is more than 10 days before the election. So now we have only about 4 days or 3 days to the election, and any primary being conducted now is outside, couldn't have been a valid primary election to field a candidate. So
I mean, it's interesting, Mr. Ikeji. If you look at what has happened with APC, if some of the footage that we have, the primaries conducted in Surulere, where supporters and delegates got angry and were kicking ballot boxes there, which some of the party members are saying, look, that primary is no primary. You can see there, and this was what has caused all of this. I mean, how bad could it be for a local council election to get this murky?
I think it cannot be worse for, excuse me, for local government election to get this murky. It raises the question as to the kind of interest that local government election attracts.
The interesting part is that Mr. Banire says that there is the LASEC chairman who is a retired justice in Lagos, who also knows the law. But the Lagos State House of Assembly has moved to amend the LASEC law to be able to accommodate submission of candidate list. Are you aware of that?
Yes, I'm aware of it. I'm aware of it. But the amendments done cannot serve any purpose in this instance. Section 26 of the LASEC law, Section 62 of the same law were amended today. And what are these sections talking about? The new sections are saying that a political party can substitute its candidates not less than 3 days to the election. And that a candidate can withdraw from the race not less than 3 days to the election. So the issue now is that, okay, if you are talking about substitution, what are you substituting? Whom are you substituting? That is the question. If the decision of the High Court of Lagos State by Justice Okuwobi, delivered in this month, has said that no primary election took place, no candidate emerged from that particular primary, the faulty primary process, the implication is that you have nobody to substitute.
All right. Mr. Ikeji, as it stands now, what is the implication of what is being done today? We understand that in one day, the Lagos House of Assembly moved a motion to amend the bill, pass the first, second, and the third reading, and we understand that that bill may be sent to the governor for assent today or something.
It's simply legislative rascality, in my view, with due respect to the legislators, some of them lawyers. You see, there's a common law presumption against retroactivity in law. Retrogressive legislation or law is against settled principles of the Nigerian jurisprudence. Now, You have to ask the question, like my colleague has highlighted some of the sections that were amended, and that a judge has held that there were no primaries, and that the amendment purports to provide for substitution of candidates. The question is which candidates are to be substituted. The implication would mean that you are creating a retroactivity. You are now creating a situation where people whose rights have already been vested, people who already know that this is what the position is, they are now going to be affected by the legislation. What it means simply is that the Lagos State House of Assembly may be treading on delicate parts.
Legally or morally?
Legally, both legally and morally.
I mean,
legally
is there any law? Because
yes. There are several cases in Bernard Chibu against Tony Mas Nigeria Limited, in Kamoru Adios against the state. The Supreme Court has held that there is a common law jurisprudence, common law principle against retroactive legislation where substantive rights are involved. The only place that you can have retroactive legislation is procedural law, where
my concern now is that what does it portend in law? Generally, you are lawyers, I'm not.
Yes.
In a week of election, it's just 4 days election. Can you reasonably, legally speaking, amend the law of an election, on the week of the election?
I've answered that question. You can amend laws insofar as they do not affect vested substantive rights. You can amend laws before 4 days or in a week before the election if they do not affect substantive rights. If they are for procedure, for example, the way the voting will take place on that day, that is procedure.
All right, just because, so that we can round up the conversation now, just in 30 seconds, what do you think is the danger in what has happened today, and what do you think is the way forward?
The implication is that candidates who probably will emerge through this particular process after these amendments may be found to be unqualified by the court, and such candidates may still be notified with respect to their candidature. If you look at several cases that we have done in election petitions, you will see that any candidate who emerge through such a process, in all the cases that we have done in the past, all their cases were nullified. All their candidatures were nullified.
Mr. Ikeji, what does this portend? Could this affect the election, or may affect the emergence of APC as a party?
I think the most sensible thing to do is to postpone the election.
Really? On the basis that APC is not ready, or
not on the
APC
basis
has
of
crisis?
Let's face facts. APC is in control of the government, and LASEC is an agency of the Lagos State government.
All right.
So it is better that they accept the fact that there may be defects in the present process, in the present situation. So it's advisable that they postpone the election and allow time for all these processes to.
Mr. Ikeji, Nigerian lawyer based in Lagos. Mr. Kunle Adegoke, also a lawyer. Many thanks, gentlemen, for coming on the program.
Thank you very much.
We would like to let you also know that we extended invitation to members of the Lagos State APC executive to come on the program to explain their own stand, but it looks like they're shying away from coming to speak about this very sensitive issue. And before we go, there are those, a few mostly, who make a lot of money from what they do, while some others, usually millions of them, who work tirelessly to secure barely enough for a living. This is not an indictment on anyone. The bottom line is there is a huge class gap, and we can fix that. Again, I'm only responsible for what I say and not for what you understand. On that note, I sign off today's program. That's our show for tonight. Many thanks for being part of it. I'm Sean Akimale. Bye for now.